So it's been a while since I've done a Plowbender's Custom Creations video, and that being the case, I figured I'd go ahead and do one today. So we're going to be taking a look at my custom 1/64 scale 1962 Chevy mini rig, as I'm calling it. And quite a bit of time and effort was put into building this truck. A lot of scratch-made and handmade parts were put on it. And it started out as a standard pickup truck, which I actually have one here I can show you. And you can see this is a 1962 Chevy pickup truck. The only difference is this is the newer casting because it has the sunroof, and the bumper here is part of the interior plastic and not the main die cast. And I've actually done quite a few builds with these 1962 Chevys, because right here I have one that's basically stock. This is the older casting. I've never done any builds with the newer castings yet. But the only difference is this is the original paint. The only changes I made were I added new axles to it, better looking wheels. The interior was repainted satin black because I didn't care for the chrome, and also painted a couple other little bits on the truck to give it more character. But also did a wrecker using the 62 Chevy. This is the same body, just cut the bed off and built a custom wrecker bed for it. And this one here I made to look like a 59 wrecker. It's still using the 62 cab, just again cut the bed off and put a wrecker bed on it, different wheels and custom bumper. So yeah, this is just a couple builds I've done using the 1962 Chevy truck. That doesn't even include the builds that I've done for others, because quite a few people actually wanted me to do quite a few builds with the 1962 cab. But anyways, on to the mini rig itself. Yeah, as I said before, it started out as a pickup truck. So first thing I did was chop the pickup bed off, and being I wanted to have tandem axles, I had to lengthen the frame. You can see where the original rear axle was. So I went ahead and lengthened it out here using styrene, and then went back afterwards and put tubing in for the new axles. And the wheels are off of a F350 pickup truck, and of course I needed two of those to do the tandems. And trying to think, start going on to the sleeper here. I could have easily gone out and bought a 1/87 scale or HO scale rig and just pulled the sleeper off of that, but I chose to make one for this truck. And I made this out of styrene, just glued together in the shape of a box. And I did have to modify the cab slightly because, as you'll see on this truck here, the roof protrudes out from the back of the cab a little bit. So I had to go and Dremel that little bit off there, so the cab and the sleeper would pretty much fit flush together. And there's still a bit of a gap, but you can't really tell because the stacks are in the way. And really that was the only modification I had to do to the cab. And after that, everything fit together perfectly and was ready for paint. And of course I went ahead and put a coat of primer on everything. And for paint I used this one coat lacquer by Testors. This is a metallic root beer brown. And why I chose this was I actually did a build for another customer, and they wanted me to use this particular paint. And after I used that on their build, it's like, well, damn, that looks nice. I want to try it on this truck. And sure enough, that's what I did. And I gotta say, I just love that metallic root beer brown. It really looks nice. And like to go ahead and do that on some future builds as well. But after the paint was cured and what have you, I was ready to go ahead and start reassembling this truck and building it to the way I wanted it. And like I said, there's quite a few scratch-built parts on this, and we'll start at the front here. And of course we got the bumper, which I made from stainless steel. Just cut it to shape and bent it and went ahead and put it on the truck. You can see how it looks just on there, and I think that really looks nice. Makes it looks like a Texas bumper on a rig, you know. But yeah, that turned out good. The steps were scratch-built from styrene, and I had quite a bit of time into getting these to fit right, because you can see at the front here they kind of go up on the front fender of the truck. So a little bit of filing here and there, and once they were fitting like I wanted them to, went ahead and glued them in place. And the mirrors are DCP mirrors. I just modified them to fit on this truck. And the horns are also DCP. I got those off of a parts truck. And the cab lights are my traditional method of making cab lights. Possibly a little bit on the large side, but it works. And the stacks were probably the biggest challenge in this build, because these were not my first attempt at stacks. These are more like my fourth or fifth attempt. Because the problem I was running into, I was using aluminum tubing, and when I'd go to bend these like they are, a lot of times the tubing would either kink or it would break. And I'm not sure if aluminum was the best thing. I probably should have been trying to do this with stainless. But what I was doing was I was putting a wire into the tubing and then bending it, hoping that would, you know, keep it from kinking or breaking. And I forget how I managed to pull this off, but either way, you know, I got there in the end with these stacks and just cut them the way I wanted them. And possibly would have been easier just to buy some regular stacks from Stampin' Toys, but I think I was in a rush to try to get this truck done in time for a upcoming show, so figured just do it myself. The fuel tanks are off of a dollar store truck, you know, the little die-cast trucks you buy at the dollar store. Majority of them is plastic, but just went ahead and cut those tanks off, painted them chrome, and glued them onto the truck here. And funny story, these tanks are off of the same truck that I robbed steps off of for my Dodge Ram tandem truck that I'll feature in a later Plowbender's Custom Creations video. But quarter fenders were made from styrene again. These ones here, I went ahead and I had to heat up the styrene and then bend it slightly to get the curve in them. And going back here to the mud flaps, those are also made from styrene. Just went ahead and just a big piece of styrene. I cut out the mud flaps and the details where the lights are here. So this is all one piece, just glued onto the back of the truck. And what else? Little lights along here, those are all painted on with a toothpick and orange paint. The sleeper decals are regular decals. I'm thinking Mini Chrome Shop makes them, but they come on a sticker sheet like this, and they're meant for these bigger trucks with the sleepers, like this one right here. Meanwhile, everyone watches just like, wow, that's a big truck. But you can see here, sorry, bumped the camera there, cabinet details. So yeah, just basically this sticker sheet, went ahead and pulled some of these smaller ones off for the doors on the sides, and then window at the back there. So what else? Anything else with this truck? Got a little bit of trim there painted. That was done with a paint marker or paint pen, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, it does have a fifth wheel hitch and a bumper hitch, or just a hole there that's supposed to represent a fifth wheel hitch, I guess. Turn signals were painted. I'd say the only thing I still want to do to this truck is at some point go ahead and make a stainless steel visor to put over the windshield there. But that was something that kind of got overlooked with this build when I was doing it. And like I said, I also have a Dodge Ram. Well, actually, I have two Dodge Rams that I built into tandem trucks. So, not sure what else to say, really. That's basically my 1962 Chevy mini rig, as I call it. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to end it there. But, yeah, if you like this build, make sure to comment your thoughts on it. Go ahead, hit that like button. You know, everything everyone seems to say at the end of the video. And hopefully see you again in another Plowbender's Custom Creations. Take care, everyone.